Hi, Yin and Young listeners. This upcoming podcast that you're about to listen to was recorded in February, mid February of 2021. Right now it is May. Oh no, shoot, it's already June. It's June in Taiwan right now, June 1st. And things have changed quite a bit. What you are listening to is my experience in February and the time, and basically the coronavirus situation then was contained. Now there are triple digit cases around the 400, 500 a day range this past week. So it goes to show things can change very quickly, and no country, no system is perfect. And what you are about to listen to is a snapshot of my life on the last day of quarantine and my thoughts at the time. Things now have completely changed. We are in semi-lockdown now. I'm in a different city. I'm in Tainan, and so yeah, everyone has to wear a mask. There's no indoor eating. There is there are no public events or gatherings. So yeah, things change. And if anything, this podcast you're about to listen to is a record in time of what Taiwan was like and what quarantine was like for me. And now life is quite different. But if anything, this is a nice a historical audio recording, and hopefully you gain something from it. Thanks.
Yin, yang, yin and yang. So, yeah, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Welcome to Yin and Yang podcast special quarantine edition. Like legit, cannot leave the room at all. Quarantine for me at least. I got my you can see my clothes hanging on this rack back here. I have it elevated because I'm trying to get it closer to my window. Window you can see over there. There, I got my other clothes hanging. Yeah, I can't take my clothes out to wash, so I have to. I asked them, hey, is there like maybe laundry service or like do they do it for me? But I had to do it myself. But they gave me a free detergent. Yeah.
So that's what do you do for food?
They deliver food 3 times a day. One at 8 to 8:30, another time between 12:30, and then another time at between 5 and 5:30. Yeah.
Is it pretty good? Is it filling?
It's whatever. I generally what I do is I usually the last couple of days I've been combining my breakfast and my lunches. So like I'll get my breakfast and then I'll just hold on to it until about lunchtime, and then I'll combine that because I generally don't have to eat. I generally eat a late breakfast anyways. And then the dinner time, recently I've been getting I'll get the dinner, which is like a little bento and like a drink, like one of these guys.
Right.
And then I'll order out to get like another like maybe a bowl of noodles or something too. And that seems that's pretty filling. I could get by on just those. They're that kind of 3 smaller meals, but I like they're all like 7-Eleven food. It's all like bentos and stuff. Yeah.
And then today's your last day there. So what you officially can check out at midnight?
I can check out. I paid until tomorrow checkout. So I mean I paid for tonight, so I check out tomorrow morning. But I can leave the physical room at midnight tonight. I think they're supposed to send me like a text message from the government, supposed to send me a message or something. Yeah, yeah.
Are you gonna
Um,
Are you gonna leave?
midnight. I have some. So I had this idea of like a film, this short film, kind of like a very short idea of like filming me in the wall and stuff. So I might be busy just doing that. I want to do it at nighttime, and then I might step out to get some fresh air. Yeah, yeah. But I'll probably go to sleep around like 1 or before. Yeah, I'll probably go sleep around that time, anyways.
Are you looking for
Uh,
what? But even though official quarantine ends tonight, are you gonna do something else? Are you gonna go? Uh, I know that you had mentioned previously that you were not going to see relatives just yet. You were gonna go to another place and just hang out for another week or so.
sorry, they gave me apples too, so I'm just eat one slice and I'm gonna stop for the sake of the podcast. But yeah, so after 1 week, after 2 weeks, today it's been technically today's my 15th day because they don't count the first day as a day of quarantine.
Okay.
Even though I checked in the morning that day,
Yeah.
it's not considered like a full 24-hour day.
Okay.
So they started the day after I check in. So
it might have been more useful for you if you took a regular flight. It sounds like you took a midnight flight or a red eye from LA to Taipei. And if you had taken a regular flight, you would have arrived in the evening of one day and you would have
right,
checked in and then you would have slept. And then the
right.
next day would have been your start of your 14-day
That would
quarantine.
be my start day. But I came in the morning.
Yeah.
So I did a red eye and then the 13-hour flight. So I landed here in the morning.
Right.
And but that's fine. I mean, yeah, it is an extra day of quarantine, which is a pain, but I think it was like the cheapest. It was like the cheaper flight. I think the red eyes are generally a cheaper price. And then and I also felt like I think with the timing wise, it was one of the flights because I'm going to a class later this month. So as far as like meeting like, oh, after I finish my self quarantine, so basically it's 2 weeks of a hardcore quarantine of like cannot leave the room at all, and then after that, it's a week of self quarantine. So it's kind of like what we're doing in the U.S., right? We're just leaving. What is it?
Your residence
Like I can, I can leave
food
my
and
residence
stuff.
for like for necessities. I think I can go to public open air spaces as long as it's not like a concert or something. It's as long as it's like to maybe go for a walk or exercise and stuff like that.
Are
Yeah,
people wearing masks outdoors?
they are. Yeah, like there's like a sliver of street that I can see out my window, and I'll probably be posting on my Instagram. But that's where people can walk, and I can see people walking on the street, and most of them I've seen have been wearing masks. Yeah, yeah. There's some people who don't, but yeah, I would say majority are still wearing masks. Yeah, I think they're still because earlier last month they had a few cases of like they had like 10 cases or something like that, and they've I think they've had one or two more deaths.
Uh-huh.
So for Taiwan, that's a big deal because they had zero cases for like hundreds of days, and then all of a sudden there was like a few cases that popped up. So I think that's why people are more on alert. Yeah, yeah, and
And
that's one thing. Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
are you gonna be able to do a lot of things that you're not able to do in the US, like go out and get haircuts and all that? So I mean, in the US you still can. I don't know how advised that is right now because being inside a confined space or whatnot. I think in lots of ways the US is getting more they're getting acclimated to the idea of people dying, right? It's not, the numbers are still pretty high relative to the rest of the world, but things are starting to open up again.
Oh, so I guess the US is just, we can't be locked up this long and we're just gonna be okay with dying. Is that what the feeling you're getting?
I think so. I think people are getting tired of being locked inside and not meeting with people. And then
Yeah.
also there's like a small sliver of the population that's been vaccinated, 10%. So we still have what, 70% more to go before we reach herd immunity. So I think a lot
Yeah.
of people are starting to, I mean, Texas is opening up completely.
Oh my gosh. That's kind of, it's a bit much, but yeah. I'm gonna move this. Hold on. Um, yeah, I mean, here in Taiwan, it's pretty open. Like there was a concert just the other day. I was doing some work on my laptop, and like I think like the last weekend there was just Saturday and Sunday was a concert a couple blocks from my window, and it's just like kind of loud. There's people in the crowd. There's people going, yeah. So like you're not seeing that in the US, right? And yeah, so they're having concerts. I think they canceled for Lunar New Year. They canceled some big events, but this this past weekend's already been a couple of weeks after Lunar New Year, so I think people are, yeah, it's, and there hasn't been any new cases, so yeah, it seems pretty, like I do plan to get haircuts. I do plan to go eat in a restaurant. I do plan to after my self quarantine.
Right.
And then I do plan to go on like some dates here and there. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that with during my self quarantine period. That might be a little bit. There have been some news reports of people testing positive for COVID like 20 plus days after they arrived in Taiwan, which is
really?
kind of, yeah, which is kind of ridiculous. So I'm like, okay, to be extra safe, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just meet people that are like in a very safe, like my cousin wants to meet up with me and he's not at risk, and I don't think he's living with anyone at risk. And we might be able to meet in like a public park or something, and like not eat together, but like just hang out in like a public space with masks on. That should be, I think that should be fine. But as far as dating, like a stranger or someone, I don't want to put, yeah, I think that's another set of etiquette and rules that I don't want to deal with until maybe after my self quarantine, maybe. Yeah. Because then I have to be like, oh, hey, just to be upfront, I'm in my self quarantine phase. That's kind of not, I said that for my Airbnb. So after this 2-week quarantine, I'm going to an Airbnb, not too far from here. I'm in Ximen area, which is in like the west. I'm going further west. But before that, I was looking for a place on Airbnb, and just to be upfront, I came back from the US. Two things: do you have good Wi-Fi? Because the Wi-Fi at this hotel sucks. And I'm like, I've just been tethering, right? But it's it's so much more convenient if you have Wi-Fi. So there's that. And then the second thing was like, and then the other thing, of course, was like, hey, I just came back from the US. I've already quarantined for 14 days by the time I stay, or for 15 days actually, and then but I'll be in my self quarantine. I want to make sure I have a private room, and if you mind. And like two people were like, nope, sorry. One was like, we can't, it's not allowed or something, and then the other person was like, I don't want to risk it. So there is still that, I think, fear, rightfully so, especially with all the numbers in the US, right?
Right. Are they starting to roll out vaccines in Taiwan?
I'm not too sure. I think, I asked the taxi driver on the way to here, and he was like, there's some, but it's not like, I think the priority is like just making sure no one gets sick, in the first place. Like, and then from there, we'll see if then we'll start, rolling out vaccines. But like, because there's no cases here, yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing, but it's kind of ridiculous. This is a COVID free, fairly, it's like basically a COVID free country. So, um, will they need vaccines? Yeah, if they start opening up, but um, yeah, it might be better to have that extra safety net. But yeah, I'm not sure what they're doing with the vaccine. So yeah, yeah. But I do think it is kind of crazy. Like, what is it? Like 500,000 people have passed in America, right?
More than, I mean,
More
500,000.
than.
Yeah, that milestone was reached a few weeks ago, the 500,000 mark. So that's what I'm saying. Like, people are so desensitized to the whole idea of people dying now, that now that cases are no longer on the rise, that some states feel like it's okay to start opening things up. And I know that even LA, they're probably going to start relaxing some restrictions. I mean,
Yeah.
I also heard that they are starting to vaccinate restaurant workers starting Monday, this past yesterday. So
Okay.
that's the next phase, I guess.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that? The easing of restrictions.
I mean, it's kind of it's going to be a bad cycle. You know, you relax restrictions, cases go back up, you lock it down again. So rather than just doing it all at once, we're just like prolonging the whole situation. So it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you the truth. Like, doing a 14-day strict quarantine is not easy. I think with internet and with social media and stuff, there's a lot of ways I can distract myself. I have spent more time also meditating and doing some writing here and there, but it does put things into perspective. Like, all this kind of semi quarantine, like, what if we condensed all that into like 2 weeks, right? Like,
Yeah.
very strict quarantine. Like, I mean, the research shows is like, if everyone in the country did like there's no way to enforce this, but if everyone did like a very strict 14-day quarantine,
Yeah.
this would be over, right? In
Oh yeah.
America. Yeah.
I mean,
Or if everyone followed guidelines strictly for 2 weeks, then not even a strict quarantine, but like,
masks.
washing hands, masks. If everyone did that for just 2 weeks straight, yeah, it is so it is yeah. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
It's what New Zealand did, right? New Zealand did it for 6 weeks. They did it for 6 weeks. Very strict quarantine, whole country locked down, and the government paid everyone just to stay home. I'm sure they had to have people working at the markets and whatever, but they did it for 6 weeks, and now they're just like, they're out there without masks on, and they're having outdoor concerts and sporting events. So they're like the model of what could have been if we did something early on, if we did something a year ago.
Right, they're a Western country, right?
Yeah.
European, strongly European influenced country. So it's not really a cultural. People say it's a cultural thing. I think does play a part in it. I think they probably did learn from what they saw in Taiwan and China, like. But yeah, it's to say, yeah, it because some people would argue, oh, it's a maybe. I guess New Zealand culture, because it is a smaller island. Um, the number of sheep outnumber the number of human there. I
Yeah.
think like the ratio, I forget what it was, like it's 2 to 1 or something like that. But and then Taiwan's also a smaller country, but it's still 23 million people here in Taiwan. It's very densely packed. Um, I wonder if part of that, maybe that sense of collectiveness, might have played in maybe the adherence to guidelines. Maybe, I'm not sure. Yeah. Um, but at the same time, yeah, New Zealand's a Western country. America is considered like a Western kind of a Western country, so it's something, yeah, we could have totally done, I think. But we say that now, but I do think there's a segment of the American population where it's like no matter how lockdownish you try to get, it's gonna be, you know,
Right.
there's people who are there's always gonna be people who are like, nah, forget it, you know. Yeah.
Well, I mean, my whole thing is Dr. Fauci said that we have to get anywhere from like 70 to 85% herd immunity, meaning that 85% or 70% to 85% of the population has to be vaccinated or have the antibodies for it. And we don't even know how long the antibodies last. The likelihood of you getting reinfected is very low, but it does happen. And if we need 70 to 85% of the population inoculated to get herd immunity, I don't know if we're going to get that point because we're talking about 33% of the people who voted for Trump, and Trump is not talking about the vaccine, even though he said he sponsored the rapid development of it with warp speed, but he's still not saying that vaccines are great. And so 85% of the total population, and that doesn't include kids, right? Or we need kids in that population, and the vaccines don't cover the kids just yet. I think the lower limit right now is 16, and they're right now testing for kids above 6 and above. So
Mm.
with kids being carriers, they might not be they not they might be asymptomatic. I just don't know if we're going to reach that herd immunity level if it's like 70 to 85%. 70% is maybe doable, but I mean the latest poll is I think a lot of people are still not going to take the vaccine.
Oh, really?
Well, I don't know if it's 30% that are going to be anti-vaxxers, but there's a good majority of people who are not going to do it. If as long as the GOP leadership or whoever they're looking to is saying like, oh, you don't, or vaccines are bad or whatever it is, then those people are going to continue believing that narrative.
Yeah. Um, and yeah, I mean, you can't really, yeah, you can argue with like what science and facts. I don't know if that might be, I don't know if they would listen, but just quickly, here's a view of my window. I don't know if you can, yeah, there's that sliver right here I can see
Yeah.
of a street. That's basically where I see life. Over here is a coffee shop that I sometimes see people in the window. Yeah. Ooh, there's a person walking. Cool. Yeah. See a person walking. Mask. Okay, that person has a mask on. I believe so. Yeah. This person has a mask on. Yeah. So even though cases are super low, there are people, people adhering to guidelines. Um,
So what else have you been doing in quarantine? Meditating, some martial arts.
yeah. So typically, um, I'm looking to come out with a series of videos of like my quarantines. I've been filming stuff since I came in. Today I'm taking a break. I felt like I've already amassed like gigabytes of like video and photos that I'm going to take a break today and just really be present with the quarantine experience because today's my last day and I don't look forward to coming back to this kind of experience. Well, yeah, I mean it's an interesting experience, but I wouldn't want to do it again anytime soon, right? Uh Typical day starts with I do some journaling. So I journal. What I do is I heard from like an Asian boss video of like this guy. He recommends some memory exercises. And one memory exercise I try to practice is like going over the events of the day before. And then after I do that, I'll maybe write down like a gratitude journal, like 3 things that I'm grateful for, 3 things that, and then 3 things that, uh, good things that happened that day for me. So I'll do some gratitude journaling. And then I'll do like a quarantine journal of like, whatever I want. And then I also have a sleep journal that I keep of like dreams I had the night before, and also keeping track of how my sleep quality has improved luckily this last week. The first week is jet lag and stuff. I was waking up 6, 7 a.m. without the alarm. But like I had gone to sleep maybe 12 or 1 a.m. the night before. So I was like, oh, not getting too much sleep. But now I'm getting like more 7.5, 8 hours now. And then there's usually breakfast at the door, and then I'll bring it in, and then I'll try to do a workout before lunch. So I usually do like a cardio. So here's my my yoga mat here. So I usually use that. I do like a strength day or cardio day, and then like a third day where I just do like Tai Chi or like Qigong kind of stuff. And then I'll do lunch, and then eat. And then when I eat lunch, I've been watching Attack on Titan recently this last week, and yeah. And then after that, I'll do. I have some goals that I wanted to complete, but I have been kind of slacking. I wrote down like some goals I wanted to complete during quarantine, so I'll do maybe one of those. Like I'm rewriting a feature script that I had, the one about like school shooters. I've been rewriting, that's been on my back burner for years. And then I have some videos. I have a video I want to edit, and then like a music video that like a fun thing. And then so yeah, I have these goals that I set, and I have this timer. I'm doing this thing called the Pomodoro. Have you ever heard of this? It's like you do like 25 minutes of like focused work or whatever, and then you take a few minutes of a break, and then you start 25 or 30 minutes, so basically doing it in sets of like
Right.
mental work. Yeah. So I have this thing called like Study Bunny, where like I press it and it has like a countdown and makes the bunny happy that you're studying and stuff like that. Yeah.
I think I
So
did hear about that a long time ago, but it's just one of those things like an article of some sort.
yeah, so that keeps me from being too. It does break up the day, like I got a couple sets in of like writing today or like stuff like that. Then maybe I'll distract myself with some social media a little bit, and then evening comes, and then I'll get the dinner, and maybe I'll order some other food, and then I'll watch some more Attack on Titan, and then
Are you all
one
caught
thing.
up?
I'm on season 3 now. Yeah, so I started towards the middle of my quarantine. I started Attack on Titan on season 1. So like I watched 2 seasons just this past week, and then I'm season 3 right now. Yeah, and then it is interesting because it is kind of sombering to think like even in that series, right? 250,000 people died in one of the when the government would try to take back the wall from the Titans or something, right?
Yeah.
And when I heard that number, like, whoa, that's a crazy number, right? When I first watched it years ago, and then rewatching it this time, I realized, oh wait, like more than double of that has died in the U.S., right?
Right.
Right, which is I mean, obviously it is apples and oranges because it's a fictional story.
Yeah.
And it's like and their population is much smaller, right? So the that's like 20% of their population, right? But 500,000, that's a crazy number. Like when I heard of so sometimes I'll keep up with the news here and there, but yeah, so my days are fairly okay. I think like the first day I arrived, what I did was I unpackaged everything I owned, and then I organized it and put them back. So I had an idea of like, because when I was packing to get here to Taiwan, I was kind of like, I was rushing to put things together, but then so I took a moment to like reassess what I have, and then I organized my room a lot. So like this workout space, this didn't exist. It was usually smaller, right? It was smaller when I got here because the bed was in the middle of the room. So I moved the bed, safely to make some workout space for me. So that the first couple of days is fun, right? It's kind of like I'm readjusting to this new environment. This whole setup here I have is all, I invented basically. Like this is a box right here of like stuff that I got shipped to me from they have like something called PC Home, which is like the Taiwanese Amazon. So I ordered that the workout mat that you just saw. The also what else did I get? Some I think some soap. Oh no, I got like tape. I got a bowl, a ceramic. I got this mug I'm drinking. This mug I'm drinking from. So basically, I used a cardboard box and set that up as like as a little small table. So, anyways, so yeah, so those are some of the things I keep busy. I have a jump rope, and luckily, this space over here is enough space for me to jump rope. I do some martial art forms, and then do like Tai Chi and yeah, and for cardio, yeah, the jump rope. I do kickboxing.
Yeah.
I did it one time, but I tried one time of like kind of like hitting the wall, but I wrapped towel around my fist. But the thing is, the wall is kind of it's like a little soft. So if I hit it too hard, I think I might break it. So I don't do that too much. I just do more shadow boxing. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
You're almost done.
Almost done. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of crazy how it's flown by. I think I started getting cabin fever about the 10th, 11th day of. I would have these dreams of like I find myself in the hallway or something, or I'm outside in front of 7-Eleven, and I'm like, they'd be very anxious dreams. There'd be dreams because once I realize I'm outside, I think, holy shit, they're gonna find me like $5,000 or $10,000 or some shit. So I'm like, I gotta find my way back inside. but so it's kind of like, I think maybe the dream is telling me, oh, this is my desire to be outdoors and outside of my room. But then there's also the added anxiety of like, oh, I don't want to be fined, and also, yeah, it's protect the community, I guess. Yeah. Because then in my dream, I'd have my mask off. I'm like, holy shit, where's my mask? Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I can talk a little bit about maybe the process of getting here. That is a little bit of a process, I guess. Yeah. If you're interested in that.
I mean, yeah. What was the process? Did you have to get tested before you boarded the flight?
Yeah, so I mean, this process for our listeners is specific to Taiwan. So, but it may be I hear it's like similar for like Europe, and like for like my friend went to Germany. So Byron, one of our previous guests, but I think he's back now. So I would have to, prior to the flight, first of all, currently all the borders are closed to non-nationals. So I do have a Taiwanese passport that any Taiwanese person can apply for. Any person of Taiwanese heritage can apply for. So I got it through my parents. And you can do this as an adult. I applied as an adult for a Taiwanese passport, but it's one without household registry, right? But when I'm here, you can apply for a household registry. Anyways, that's a little more technical. But to get to the Taiwan, you can, if you have a Taiwanese passport, you have to apply for a special permit to like an entry permit through the TICO, which is the Taiwanese Economic Cultural Office. And I know another guy, he's not Taiwanese, but he's married to a Taiwanese person. So he has to apply, go via that way. Anyways, you get a special entry permit, you buy the ticket, and prior to going on the flight, you have to have a negative COVID report within, it has to be printed 3 days within 72 hours of the flight. So it's kind of like you have to you have to kind of gamble a little bit of like, okay, when do I take the test and when will they report it? Because you want the report date to be within 72 hours, not the test date.
Right.
So because if you don't have the report by the flight, you're screwed. You need the report to get on the flight. So I did it. So I did it like, how did I plan it out? I did mine like four, since mine's like a midnight flight, I did mine like 4 days, like counting backwards from that midnight, 4 days, including, so this is business days. So anyways, I was able to get my report within 48 hours, which was within 48 hours of my flight, luckily, right? Because I did 4 days, right? So yeah. But sometimes it takes up to like 72 hours or more to get your report. Generally, it takes 48 hours. I went through the Bay Area testing site. So yeah, also prior to that, you need to have a government certified, Government certified quarantine hotel. So you need to go onto their website and look for a quarantine hotel that's listed, and they have prices ranging from like 15. For US dollars, it's like the lowest I saw was like 45-50 bucks a night, which includes 3 meals, and then they have stuff which is like 100 plus bucks a night, US dollars. And I got something in between because I wanted this window, if I didn't have this window, I think I would go crazy. Right. So I could have got like a $45 a night one, but the one with the window was like 68. It's like an extra like 20 bucks a night. I'm like, that's fine, I'll take it extra. With a small window, it's the 20 bucks and extra is fine. Yeah. So there's that. So you have to report that prior to the flight as well. So 2 things need to be reported: your negative COVID test, and the second thing is the quarantine hotel that you're staying at. So then what's crazy is like, yeah, so I do that, and then I'm waiting for my flight, and then everyone's wearing masks. And then when you go on the flight, you're supposed to wear your mask, but and it's spaced out. The flight I took, what's spaced, so there's no one sitting next to me,
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, people take off their masks to eat, obviously, and sometimes they forget to put it back on. So there's some people who don't have they're supposed to have their masks on the flight, right? And then what else is there? Yeah, so it's kind of uncomfortable wearing a mask for like 13 hours. But luckily I took them off temporarily here and there to like eat, obviously. Yeah. And then after the airport, when you get down, you have to go through immigration. You have to show your special entry permit, and then you have to get a SIM card. So there's a line. That was the longest wait, was getting my SIM card. So I had to get a local Taiwanese SIM card because that way the government can send you a text message and track you, or basically like send you a text message and say, okay, so this is your number that the government is gonna basically texting you to make sure. So the government texts me every day to see if I'm okay, if I have any symptoms. Right. And I need so I applied for a local SIM card. Then they take a taxi. There's like a specific taxi for quarantine people, and that goes directly to the quarantine hotel. So I briefly, very briefly, I'm in the airport. So when I walk across the space to get to the taxi, there's a street. So I'm briefly on Taiwanese ground for like that spare of time. And then I get in the taxi, it goes to the hotel. And then, obviously I have to walk on the sidewalk. And so I'm walking towards the hotel from like the street just a very short distance, but there's like a person passing by. I'm like, whoa, gotta be careful, right? And then
Yeah.
so I let the person walk by, and then I walk quickly into the hotel. And that's literally like the last time I've been outside. That's kind of crazy now I think about it.
Well,
um,
tomorrow.
sure,
Tomorrow's
yeah.
the day.
Tomorrow's the day. And then as far as quarantine life, like I go up the hotel elevator. They ask me like, hey, do you want to leave any money at the front? I'm like, oh, why do I need to leave money? It's like, well, if you need to buy anything, we can pay it for you. Like we can make runs for you to like the convenience store.
Uh-huh.
You just have to leave like a couple of bucks with us. I'm like, oh, and then can I give you more money if I run out? They're like, no, this is the only time you can give us money. So so I'm like, okay. So I gave him like $100 just in case. And I've used up most of it. I've had them do like runs to like 7-Eleven or when they have food delivery, there's like this one app they use called Food Panda. And for some reason, my US credit card I can't add it to that app. I guess maybe because it's a Taiwanese company. I don't know. But anyways, I just ordered through there, and they pay for it for me at the front.
Is food pretty cheap?
Food's like super cheap. It's like
How much is a bowl of noodles?
like a bowl of noodles depends. Like if you're getting like a wonton noodle soup, that's like let's see, 80, that's like $3.25 or something like that.
Wow, that's dirt cheap.
Yeah, for a bowl of wonton noodles. But then if you get beef noodle soup, like a good one, 180, 150, 160, 160, that's gonna be like $7. Yeah.
That's still cheap though. Compared to like the US, it's still a good 30% off, because I think if you get a good beef noodle soup in LA now, it's like at least $9 to $10 at least.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'm sure it's like
but
$10.
Yeah. So for a bowl of beef noodle soup on the pricey end, it's like $7. But I saw stuff for like $5 like for a decent beef noodle soup. Yeah. So, but the thing is, they're cheap. Yeah, if you're making US dollars, if you're like the average wage for years, I think it's increased maybe a little bit, but the average like college graduate out of school was making like $600 a month here.
Oh shit! Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Like the recent like Liangwan Taipei. Yeah. So like but the Taiwanese dollar is stronger now. So they were making like I would say maybe closer to $700 US a month, but now I think it's increased a little bit, but not by too much. Yeah. So the living wage here is lower. Like 10 years ago when I worked, one time I worked here as like a waiter for like some British guy. He opened a pizzeria out here, and I was making like $3.50 an hour. Like I was like, whoa.
It's crazy to think about.
And it is kind of crazy. Yeah, we are spoiled. Yeah. So I have like one of my cousins out here. He's working for a US company, but he's living in Taiwan. So he's working remotely. So if you can do that, I mean, it's you can, forget about it. You live like a king here, right? Because of the living cost is so low. So if you can make USD in a foreign country, then like that's a pretty good. Yeah, because like the rent I'm looking at for where I'm staying. So I'm staying at now is it's a special case, a quarantine hotel. So the prices is a little bit high.
Right.
But like I'm looking at pricing for housing, and like there's a dorm that I found. I think they have a special deal with the school that I'm taking classes at, but the dorm is like it's super cheap. I was like, whoa, it's like less than 400 a month. It's like $300 a month or something crazy like that, US dollars a month. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, okay, hold on. There must be some catch. Like, am I sleeping with someone else, like in the same room? Yeah. Like, no, it's a single room. I'm like, okay, I'm not sure yet. I'm gonna check. I haven't booked it yet because it's a little bit mind-boggling to me how cheap it is. So I'm gonna it's like less than 300. So I'm gonna go check it out. I asked them, hey, do you guys sell out? prior to the semester, like, no, you're generally usually always have space. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna check it out. Yeah. So yeah. At Airbnb, you can generally find stuff around here that for a single person, I've been able to find stuff that's about $20-ish a month, $20-ish a night. Yeah, yeah. So in Taipei, so this is Taipei,
Yeah.
which is probably the most expensive city in Taiwan. Yeah.
So are you looking
So
forward to doing anything specific once your quarantine's completely over?
I've written down some goals, like so like some main priorities I have are like, I do want to get, so because I know I'm going to be studying Mandarin, I've been practicing Japanese each day here in quarantine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be nice to find maybe also when I get out of quarantine, maybe like a language partner, either in Japanese or Mandarin. But I know, for Japanese, I've been, I don't know if I just watch a YouTube where they have the hiragana like listed out.
Uh-huh.
It's like called Japanese conversation, whatever, with Sayuri. And then, so basically I just been listening and watching that. So when I get out, I do want to improve my language skills. I'm taking the Chinese class. So I have listed as one of my priorities is improve my Mandarin skills. Sorry, my Mandarin skills. Burp in here. I just ate. So I'm taking a Mandarin class, but I also want to make some time for Japanese and also Taiwanese, because that's like, I think one of my first languages I spoke is Minanhua. And then another one is I would like to date a little bit more. In the US, I did go on like a few dates during the pandemic, but it is very cautious and it is a little bit, I think people are a little bit more tentative about meeting in person.
Yeah.
So I think that's something I do want to do a little bit more of here is meet people, maybe hopefully find maybe someone, but then it is a little tricky because I'm only here for a few months, right? So so I do want to be upfront about that, and also but we'll see, you don't know how the future turns out, right? So
Right.
yeah, I might be here longer, who knows. So there's that. And yeah,
Are you gonna go look for a martial arts school or something like that, or
definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think
what
yeah, go
style?
ahead.
What style?
Tai Chi for sure. I want to keep as continuing practice. I know Taiwan is famous for some of the Tai Chi. I don't. Yeah, Tainan. I'd have to look into what they have there. Um, uh, I was some of the research I've done online is like there's like a there's this one guy. He's like I think he's Israeli or something, but he's lived in Taiwan for like 30 years and he teaches some of the special forces here. He does monkey style, but I was looking at like his online program. His online program is like $4,000 US or something. I'm like, whoa.
That's
So I'm
totally
like,
geared towards Americans or somebody else.
yeah, it must be. So I'm like, okay, maybe I can't really run that. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna find some local schools. I know Taiwan is famous for having some of the best traditional Chinese martial arts because a lot of people fled from China to
Right.
Malaysia, Indonesia,
Hong Kong,
Hong Kong, Australia, and Taiwan. So I know there's some Baji. I think there's some Baji fists here in Taipei. I know, but yeah, I'm curious. I'm gonna do that research once I get there. But I'm looking into, if there's any good Baji or Tai Chi teachers, because those are my main styles right now. But then I'm open to like other stuff.
So are you leaving Taipei then? Are you gonna move to Tainan?
Yeah, I'm gonna move to Tainan next week. Yeah. So that's where I'm taking Mandarin classes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I do wonder, like, I was talking to someone about this on that lunch club app or whatever. We're having a conversation. She's like Asian American, and I'm wondering, okay, Yeah, I guess I'm not. I guess I'm trying to be less judgmental because I did leave behind some job opportunities in the U.S. just to go on this kind of like excursion to Taiwan and take a Mandarin class. Um, I do wonder if maybe I'm running away from the U.S. or from my life. And one thing that she mentioned that I kind of took to heart was like, well, why is running away a bad reason? You know, or maybe the yeah. And I thought maybe it's the context of what, like the idea of running away means I'm running away from something, right? But I think as long as I can speak for myself is that maybe I felt like it was something I needed for at this time in my life is maybe to step out of the US for a while, I guess.
Right.
And I think that's a decent reason. Like I don't think everyone can always be constantly grinding or hustling all the time, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's tough. I do still keep up with my stocks and my cryptocurrency, but that kind of stuff, I think it's kind of fun actually having like the passive income stuff. But
Yeah.
as far as my like career, I just still try to like write a little bit here and there, but I'm trying to come at it as a place of like, oh, it's something I like, I enjoy doing versus like I'm trying to be the best, you know. I mean, I want to be a film director. I am a film director, but and I am working on those crafts still here and there. But I also want to live an interesting and fulfilling life, I guess. Yeah.
Right.
And what that means is I guess how I define it, right?
Well, I
Yeah.
don't think I have too many more questions. I mean,
Yeah.
you're gonna be there for a few months. We can still probably podcast whenever you can find the time.
Yeah. I mean, I think the main thing I did want to give people an outline of what it's like to come here. Also, I think as far as like uh yeah, I got this new camera I've been taking more pictures with, this Fuji film camera. It's
Yeah.
pretty nice. Yeah. Uh yeah, I think the main thing was being in quarantine was like you do face um yeah, like you have to sit with yourself a lot, right? And I think a lot of people in the US we've all been stuck at home for a while, right? And this really like, but the thing with the US is you can still go out a little bit and maybe like escape a little bit in nature and stuff like that, which is good. But being stuck in a room for 14 days, yeah, it's been good to kind of sit with my emotions for a little bit. Yeah. And kind of, I I I am great. I am great. You know, it's tough, but I am great. You know, I'm grateful for the experience, I guess. Yeah. Um, and I think, yeah, I do face. I think I do face some self doubt, and I do face some like, oh, but by the time I get out of this quarantine, I'm gonna have like a finished script, or I'm gonna have this awesome short film, or whatever. Um, and I realized, like, well, only if I want to. You know, like
Yeah.
why do I have to be producing so much X, Y, and Z, you know?
Right.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Those are some thoughts. Yeah. I mean, how about for yourself? Like, did you have any goals, like as America eases out of quarantine, do you have any goals out, as coming out of this experience that you want to take away from it and, or what you look forward to?
Mm, I just look forward to not being in like a. I guess if you really think about it, or if I really think about it, the overall fear of just going out and having human contact. So even going to the supermarket is kind of stressful, right? For me at least, I'm conscious of it and not wanting to get close to people. But as far as goals coming out of the pandemic, whenever that is, I honestly don't think we're going to be completely out by the end of this year.
Yeah.
I don't have too many. I mean, just chugging along, and sometimes I think about, uh, oh, maybe I should go talk to a life coach. And I was like, oh, maybe I should call up Lily and So, or text Lily and So, our previous guest. And I was like, oh, maybe I should talk to her and talk about what life should be for me, or what
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
goals, or reaching my goals. But overall, I I've always known that I didn't have an overwhelming goal like lots of people have, or lots of people write about, right? They write about what they think, oh, this is my calling, or this is my dream. I don't think I remember a lot of those things in when my 20s, but once I hit my 30s, a lot of those have like changed. And I think
Mm.
it's maybe because I didn't have as strong of a desire for whatever those dreams were, or whatever those goals were, that I didn't
Mm.
stick to it. So I think it's a luxury to have a dream to pursue. I remember my dad, before he passed, some years back we were talking about it. He mentioned that it's actually quite a something very great to have a dream. That's so you have some sort of purpose that you're working towards. But I don't think I was one of those people like, oh, I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a playwright or a screenwriter. I had those ideas at one point or another, but these days, just I want to get to FIRE. I learned what FIRE finally stood for, which is financial independence, retire early. I'd love to
Financial
be,
independence, retire.
yeah. So I'd like to get there, but I mean, how to get there? Uh, Learning more about stocks and trading is probably the best way, because
Yeah. Yeah.
um, short of hitting the lottery or buying call options on GameStop in January.
Game stonk.
Yeah. So, outside of those things, I just have to keep grinding and uh, study more about other ways. Or I can just be happy and knowing and being comfortable with what I have, right? Being comfortable with what I have with my family, not being in a situation where I feel like I'm living paycheck to paycheck. So I might not be able to afford a really nice car, but I can afford a car that I think I'd be happy driving. And these days, I don't even need a race car. When you're younger, you're like, oh, I want that fast car. But now I'm like, oh, I kind of want a car that's reliable, because I don't want to deal with like the headaches of maintenance.
Mm. Yeah, and I think what's interesting, I think what your dad said is interesting, because sure, we look up to those people who have passions and dreams. I think there's a reason why we do. At the same time, I also think that case example would be maybe like Steve Jobs, or other high achieving people, that there's a level of loneliness and a level of there's costs involved for like pursuing a passion or dream, right? That
Yeah.
some people are not aware of. And I think there's a certain I think there's people who probably look at your life, like, oh, you have a family, you have two kids, and envy that. And it seems that we're always envying what we don't, grass is greener, right?
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, I think what you said is like we all have something to be grateful for. There's always someone better off than us, but there's always someone much worse off than us, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, and at the end of the day is that we just have to be grateful for what we have. But that doesn't mean not to strive for more, but like you can still be grateful in the process, I think. Yeah.
It's very easy to see that when you're driving around LA, because the homeless population is crazy in LA.
Yeah, yeah.
So I see the homeless encampments by the LA River and downtown. Skid Row used to be so isolated, or not isolated, but concentrated, where there were a lot of homeless people in downtown. But now if you drive around downtown outside little Tokyo, there are tents everywhere. So I just have to go out there and drive out and look around and see the environment and see people who are not doing as well. So
Right, yeah. I used, I think that near Los Feliz, near your area, like I would ride my bike along LA River, right?
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, I would not want to ride there at nighttime, I think. Yeah, because there's some sketchy, like underneath the bridges and stuff, there's like encampments here and there, and they look like pretty hungry people, like, generally they don't, generally they're harmless, but like one time I was riding my bike along that river and I saw some guy just like, he in Frogtown, just like reach over someone's fence, grab a kid's bike,
yeah.
just yank it, and then like hide it in a bush. And I called the cops, like, wow, people are hungry out here. Yeah. So yeah. I guess that's about it. I think there was one last thing. What was I gonna say? Yeah, if I think of it, maybe I'll edit it in. But yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I think for setting intention, yeah, for life coaching, yeah, if you feel like you need it, go for it. I think I might look into, like, I wonder if there's any therapy out here. Maybe there's online therapy in English. I don't know how well I can express my feelings in Chinese. Like,
That'd be
oh,
amazing.
what's
Yeah.
that?
That'd be pretty amazing. That means you graduated.
Yeah. I can talk about the nuances of my love life or whatever, yeah, I guess that's the other thing you mentioned. Oh, the one thing that you brought up is like human contact, right? I think that is, I'm not gonna lie, but I think that is one of the reasons I felt like I wanted to come to Taiwan, is be back in the world with less anxiety and have more human face-to-face interactions without that kind of anxiety, or less
Right.
of that anxiety, and then, with friends. And then part of it is also the dating too, I think.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, one thing that's been coming up during my time, sometimes I'll be just sitting here in the room doing something, and then, I have a memory come back of like, oh, where did that come from? So someone had brought up, I was watching this TikTok, some guy had brought up something called checkpoints. It's kind of like these points in your life that you just seem to kind of, those were moments of when you were like very present, and then you can go back, you can basically time travel to that memory, and oh, that's how I was thinking at the time. Sometimes those come up where I think about some of the past relationships or dates that I've been on, and I can already guess, like, oh yeah, my intention in this particular date is probably like very needy. And it's very like, I know this relationship's not going to work out, but I'm still pushing for it because I want someone's affection for me, I think. And so that's been helpful, is that sometimes these memories just pop up because your mind maybe is just, my mind is maybe so bored in here, so it'll bring back. But I think maybe it's also sending me feedback of like, okay, I am feeling like I'm gonna date a little bit here in Taiwan, but I think what my past is telling me, feeding me into the present, is that, oh, James, don't fall back into these patterns or traps that you've had in the past. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to see, like, oh, is there any, first of all, one thing is like, yeah, my skin is terrible because I haven't had any like sunlight in like freaking 15, 16 days. Yeah, it's been kind of rainy outside too. Yeah. So I need to get more sunlight. And also I want to see like my cousin was telling me the skin doctors in Taiwan are better than the US. I'm like, really? They're like, yeah, they know Asian skin better than,
Right.
than so I'm gonna look into that. Yeah, martial arts, I want to find that more into that, see if like and then yeah, one of the other goals that I had put down was like, yeah, figure out my life, whatever that means. So we'll figure that out. Yeah, cool. So I guess see language corner. Let me see. When did I think of? Well, quarantine means like 隔离. 隔离 means so there's like 防疫. 防疫 means like to protect against virus. So technically, I'm in a 防疫
Yeah.
旅馆. So like protecting against the virus hotel or something like that. 隔离 is like a stricter. 隔离 is like more like a medical facility quarantine where like they have like the whole plastic sheets and I can't
Right.
leave like the room. Yeah, so that's more like 隔离. But I think used in colloquial language, people still will like use it interchangeably. But when you're talking about like at a government or official document level, they do make a difference between the two. But in colloquially, like, oh, you're in quarantine, they just say quarantine, 隔离. Yeah.
Right.
Even though you're just in a protect, in a 防疫, suppression of virus place. Yeah. So those are two words. Yeah. I means love.
Even
It's
in
something I
Japanese.
wrote. It means the same in Japanese, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, another, yeah. とりあえず, what does とりあえず? That means for now, right?
とりあえず, I guess it's for now.
Yeah.
Or
Like,
you can say in any case. とりあえず, in any case.
とりあえず. I hear that as like a throwaway like all the time. I'm like, why do they keep repeating like 多分とりあえず? I'm like, what's the
多分 is
for
like
now.
maybe. Yeah.
Maybe とりあえず for so maybe for now, blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe in any case,
多分, yeah. So that's been kind of fun listening and picking that up here and there. How about you? You have any words or?
I don't. I don't. I really. I mean, I had something before, but I don't remember what it was. But I guess what I found very interesting is that the way they pronounce vaccine in Japanese, they use borrowed words, and they say waxing with a W. Waxing.
Oh, with a W.
Yeah.
Oh, waxing.
Yeah.
I
have no idea why.
I mean,
Yeah.
Is it a British thing? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
a klaxon? Yeah. Waxing.
Waxing.
Yeah, waxing. I'm trying to think because is there a V sound in Japanese?
No.
Oh, there isn't.
There's a B sound and a P
There's
sound.
a B.
But there's no V as in victory.
Yeah, I mean, just outside what's interesting about Taiwan, just outside my window is like they have katakana on that little yellow thing that it said, what's it say? It says, here you can see it. It says, so you see that yellow building out there?
Yeah.
It has katakana on it. So I was trying to figure it out, but like, Google Translate, you have the camera function, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, what does this even mean? Oh, someone's getting a ticket, looks like too.
Oh.
But anyways, it's like crane game. So it says crane game.
Yeah.
And then underneath it says, I was like, what the hell is that? It says red. So I figured it out. It's Leisure Land. Leisure Lando.
Oh, Leisure Land.
Leisure Land.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, so like that's pretty cool. Taiwan has all this Taiwan has all these Japanese influence because it was a colony, and like but like Korea has been super popular and everywhere because of K-pop.
Yeah.
So just like during quarantine, I would say like multiple times I've heard like a bunch of K-pop being like just blasted outside my window, like Blackpink or Twice. Those are very two popular groups, around the world,
Right.
but here too. Yeah.
All
Cool.
right.
Awesome. Thank you for this. How everyone, the family's good. Everyone's healthy.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. All right. Good catching up. Yeah. Let's talk soon again. Yeah.
Take care.
All right. Take care.